Race number 4 of the season for Division 2 of the NNSCRA Skittles Super Speedway Series, set to be run here today at the M&Ms Super Speedway. That's a bit of a contradiction of terms because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Skittles is made by M&M Mars. I'm pretty sure they're made by Nestle. Maybe I'm wrong, but nonetheless, I don't think that they would make M&Ms and Skittles, which look eerily similar to each other, although one's chocolate and one is fruit, out of the same company. Nonetheless, contradiction of brands, we are set to go racing for 26 laps here today. And yesterday in Division 1, we saw the importance of drivers that have already had a win coming into this race, getting another one to ensure they are going to be one of the 8 representatives to represent in this season's chase for the championship. Brady Burkhart, who started up the season with a win at Daytona in Division 1 yesterday, went to victory lane for the second time this season, and that is basically a confirmed spot now for the 00. Will be one of the drivers battling in this season's playoffs. Will we see the same take place here in today's race? We're going to have to wait and see. Fury Gamington, who took not only the win last week at Pigs Creek, but also the points lead. He'll be looking for his second win in a row, but also the previous winners from this season. Caleb Farrell, our winner from our winner from Daytona, I should say, and William Brock, our winner from Armory. They also are going to try and get their second win of the season to also, already early on in this season, lock themselves in a spot in this season's playoffs for the championship. Front row comprised of Benny Watson and Rob Evans. Watson getting his first pole of the season. Evans, this is also his best starting position on the year. Benny Watson comes into this race after a solid outing last week at Pigs Creek, currently situated in the 10th position in points. Rob Evans, on the other hand, finds himself mired down 35th in points. Really could use a good run today. Let's go and get that command.
Drivers, start your engines!
So we know that these drivers cannot make it the full 26 laps on fuel. We had a few cautions in yesterday's Division 1 race and saw drivers have to make pit stops under green. So if we do not see the caution flag in this race, it certainly will come down to a race of fuel strategy and pit strategy overall. But we end up having, I think it was 3 total cautions in yesterday's Division 1 race. They were racing 4 wide, almost 5 wide at certain points, and we saw some pretty violent hits as well in that one. We'll see if we're going to see the same in this race, or will they be a little bit tamer, a little bit calmer? Only time will tell. Let's give you what your point standings look like coming into this race, at least your top 10. Fury Gamington, with the win last week, was able to actually have a pretty hefty point lead of 16 points between himself and Simon Salera coming into this race. William Flickinger 3rd, Caleb Farrell 4th, John Andrews 5th. Then Chris Maley, Nathan Stapleton, William Brock, Michael Norman, and your pole sitter Benny Watson. That is the completion of your top 10 right now with 3 different race winners. Fury Gamington, Caleb Farrell, and William Brock would be in one of the 8 playoff positions. The other 5 would go currently to Simon Salera, William Flickinger, John Andrews, Chris Maley, and Nathan Stapleton. That is provided we don't have another different winner here today. Odds of that not exactly great, though. And we're going to have to see if starting track position is going to be important or not, because in yesterday's race in Division 1, Brady Burkhart went to victory lane, and Burkhart started the race from the 33rd position. Starting 33rd today is actually Fury Gamington, last week's winner. So will the 33rd spot come through for the second day in a row? We'll find out as we're ready to go racing here in Division 2. Race number 4 at M&Ms is green. Let's roll. Apologize for the slow frames. They should sort themselves out. I've noticed that with a lot of these tracks, when you have a lot of cars in the same frame together, that's when the frames drop. If the drivers start to get a little bit spread out, the frames will get better. Josh Drake moves into the 2nd position. Battle between a couple of Fords for 3rd. Dillon Young in the 2, Alex Benyacko in the 20. As Watson looking to get the valuable bonus point for leading the first lap of this race after starting on point. Looks like he's easily going to be able to do that. Almost some contact there between Young and Drake. Watson out in front, clear of the mayhem behind him. Dillon Young now in the middle as you see them 4 wide through the pack. Almost 5 wide in a few places. Young going to move into second, trying to give the drafting help to his teammate Levi McIntire there in the 99. He's trying to go around the outside of the 23 of Jake Galloway. We had a car down in the grass. Car was down in the grass against the inside wall sideways, spun out. I don't know if it's going to bring out a yellow or not. Trying to look here on the side of the track, see if we can find out if the caution lights are on or not. There's Chris Maley on pit road. So he must have been the car involved, and we are indeed under yellow. So first caution of the day will come out here on lap number 2. Saw the 84 sitting on pit road. Chris Maley came into this race 6th in the standings. Certainly not what he was looking for. And I think this is the car that I saw down against the wall. I saw a green car and I wasn't sure if it was Turner, but as you can see by the extensive damage on that F-flat Camry, it very much was. And that is another driver that is running well in points, 12th in the standings coming into this race. As a matter of fact, all 3 of the Otter Island Motorsports cars in this division came into this race inside the top 15 in points, but looks like one of them is not going to finish out today's race, as well as Chris Maley there in that 84. A lot of damage for a driver that has been running well this season, as well since the start at Daytona. So Benny Watson's going to lead us under our first caution. Let's go back and see what happened. This was off of turn number 2, heading on to the back straightaway. Now, let's see if we can figure this out. Turner to the inside of Chris Maley. That's Jeff Scott in the 35 to his outside. And it looks like Turner just ran up the track off the corner and got the 84 in the left rear. Wow. Maley front tires off the ground as the car went from the transition of the track to the grass. Hard hit straight into the wall, and Turner was indeed the car I saw sliding down along the wall afterwards. And you see there as the 84 spins back up on the racetrack. I think that's why NSRA officials had to throw the caution. That car undoubtedly leaking fluid from underneath the crunched hood right up on the racing surface. I think if they had stayed down in the grass, we may not have had to have a yellow, but as you can clearly see, we definitely needed the caution to come out. Tough break there for 2 drivers that came into this race, 6th and 12th in points. They're going to take a bit of a hit in the point standings for sure after today's race. The 1 lap to green signal has been given to the field, so the green flag will be coming back out on lap 7 of 26. Field looks pretty much the same as the way they crossed the start-finish line for the caution, because no one came to pit road, and that's not really that great a surprise, because we saw in yesterday's Division 1 race, albeit with some caution flags early on, nobody really came to pit road giving up track position until we got closer to the midway point of this race. So we don't have a clear idea of what the fuel window is for these drivers, but we do know that even if they came to pit road at this point in time, they'd be giving up track position and having to pit at least one more time before the conclusion of this race. So I think these drivers just going to keep the track position they have. If they get a caution closer to the halfway point, then they'll come to pit road, or if necessary, they'll pit under green. Benny Watson will restart the leader over the Fords of Dillon Young and Levi McIntire. Jake Galloway there in 4th. 5th place right now, Nathan Stapleton. Then it's Adam Garcia in 6th. 7th is Trey Wright. Alex Gray in 9th. Simon Bloomfield, 8th rather, is Alex Gray. 9th and Simon Bloomfield. And Jeff Scott completes your top 10. 2 drivers out of the race. Pretty easy guess of who they are. Chris Maley will finish the race in 39th. And I believe he's 39th. No, Jesse Turner, is going to be 39th. And Maley will be 40th. Both drivers will have a DNF. So Maley will probably fall out of the top 10. Turner will probably fall out of the top 15. And racing will resume here at M&Ms Superspeedway. Watson with a good jump on a couple of blue ovals that are behind him. His teammate you see stepping out of line there, Nathan Stapleton in the 72. Now they've lost a teammate in Turner. Now let's see if those 2 Toyotas will be able to work together if they can get hooked up. Right now, our 3 previous winners in this series are not up inside of the top 10. As a matter of fact, on that restart, the highest of them was actually all the way back in the 25th position. That was Caleb Farrell. Way back there. Fury Gamington back in 37th, and William Brock, where was he? Oh, he was 11th. Okay, my apologies. I didn't see the 01 there on the grid. He actually was the highest restarter of our previous winners so far this season, but it's like he's fallen back a little bit there. Stapleton charging up there. He's going to get up to work with his teammate. Or is he? Now he leaves the door open for Trey Wright on the bottom. Trey Wright, 14th in the points coming into this race. Struggled last week at Pigs Creek. Fell out of the top 10. He was 7th going into that race. As it's now Otter Island Motorsports 1-2 with Watson and Stapleton. Watson, of course, a former Pizza Hut X Series champion. Nathan Stapleton took part in the Season 2. Was it Season 2? Yeah, I think it was Season 2 Coors Light Truck Series chase for the championship. Look at him down there on the bottom. Michael Norman almost had 2 tires down in the grass. He was so far down on that yellow line. And now the battle between the teammates for the race lead. Stapleton 4th in points. I'm sorry, 7th in points, I should say. Watson 10th in points. And now side by side for the race lead here at M&Ms Super Speedway. One car that I haven't seen come up here to the front yet, which I'm kind of wondering if we're going to see him, and that's Eric Sadler, because we're at M&Ms Super Speedway, and he is sponsored by M&Ms, but we're going to have to wait and see. 3 wide, maybe down here into 1. Trey Wright trying to get to the left rear quarter panel of Stapleton. Meanwhile, Dillon Young trying to get to the inside of 34. Instead, it'll be 3 wide for 2nd. And just like that, Benny Watson, who was out in front enjoying the view, finds himself way up top side of a 3 wide, almost 4 wide situation. Ooh, there might have been contact right there between Kyle Langeland and Michael Norman. Almost 5 wide back there. Rob Evans, who started outside of the front row, making his way back up towards the front. And also the 19 of Karson Gum. Nice run for the town of Salem Coven Chevy. Karson 16th in points, kind of laying in the weeds. And now he's fighting his way up towards the front. One thing I'm noticing here too is we are not yet seeing anything that at least looks towards a caution coming out. And with that being said, we could very well see these drivers have to make the first green flag stops of the weekend. And in terms of green flag stops, what I mean by that is the whole field having to pit. We ended up having green flag pit stops in yesterday's Division 1 race, but what those green flag pit stops were was actually some drivers came to pit road under caution, some drivers decided to stay out. Those drivers that stayed out had to come to pit road the lap after the green flag came out. So I don't really consider that full-fledged green flag pit stops. Dillon Young better run because the cops are coming. He's got the 56 of Vince Almariego right behind him, and if ever a driver could use a good run, that would be Vince Almariego. Dropped from 10th to 27th in the points after last week's race at Pigs Creek, trying to rebound after a horrible run. And Jake Galloway, oh, we got wrecked. I heard someone scraping the wall back there. I think the caution is out, and indeed it is. Oh, it's Eric Sadler involved. William Flickinger, Simon Salera, Levi McIntire. That's 2nd and 3rd in points right there in the 4 and the 14, and Sedale Salera was in it as well. Patrick Smith in the 58 also collected up in this. Big wreck over in turn number 1. Dillon Young's going to lead him back to the line. Where the heck did James Shelly come from? He's going to be up to 2nd place when they cross the line. Drag race between Cody Llamas and Jake Galloway, and I think Galloway got it. But where did the 71 and the 15 come from all of a sudden? And now I think we're going to see people be able to make pit stops and maybe be able to make it the rest of the way. This may have been the caution that's going to save all these drivers from having to come to pit road under green. Looked like 6 drivers in total involved. We may have to add a 7th as Charles Sandfer is on the pit lane. Sedale Salera, Simon Salera, Levi McIntire, William Flickinger, Eric Sadler, and Patrick Smith, I know for certain all were in it. They're all sitting on pit road. Charles Sandfer, I believe he's still on the lead lap, so if they get him out of pit road ahead of the leaders and ahead of the pace car, I think he might be okay in terms of staying on the lead lap. Looks like they're working quite a bit on the right side of his GoBowling.com Chevy Camaro. And remember I was saying that the M&Ms car, be interesting to see if he got up to the front. Well, he's involved in this one in Eric Sadler. So let's go back and take a look and see what brought out the caution for the second time here today at M&Ms. And then we'll come back and find out how they cycled out as far as the pit stops. And it looks like we got some takers and some leavers. Oh man, this is looking eerily similar to what we might have experienced in yesterday's Division 1 race. This was going into the entrance of turn number 1. Simon Salera second in the points down there on the bottom. Levi McIntire, I think he thought was clear. He was trying to tuck down in line behind the 4. Might have made a little contact there with Simon Salera. And then just watch here, another contact right there. And then, oh! Okay, I might be wrong, but it looked like the 4 slowed down for some reason. Takes out his brother, Eric Sadler. Look at Patrick Smith up and over and up into the catch fence as he went over the hood of the 44 of William Flickinger, still up and in the catch fence. Is Smith finally comes back down to rest. Charles Sandfer, you saw, indeed was in the middle of all that. And that was a wild ride for the 58. Let's take another angle at that. There's the wreck already started ahead. We're looking at the 58 of Patrick Smith. 11th in the points coming into this race, just trying to mind his own business. And when McIntire slides back up, straight up T-boned by William Flickinger. Look at how that car climbs up over the Salera brothers. Up over the 4, up over the 30, up and into the catch fence, up to the very top of the catch fence. Thank goodness that catch fence is there, or that car very well might have gone outside of the racetrack. And you could just see just how high up in the air it was, of how long it took for it to land back down on racing surface with this high bank track. That is a scary wreck for Patrick Smith, and it's not the first scary wreck we've seen here this weekend. But a lot of drivers are going to take some hits in the point standings, though, as well. We mentioned that Simon Salera, he is second in the points coming to this race. William Flickinger, third, and we can also add Patrick Smith, 11th in the points, and Charles Sandfer, 13th in points to that list. So some drivers that we saw that are going to have poor points days after the first caution, we can add a lot more to that list after this, our second caution at the halfway point. 10 laps to go when we go back green. The drivers that will not make it back for this restart include Sedale Salera, William Flickinger, Levi McIntire, Simon Salera, and Patrick Smith and Eric Sadler. They join Jesse Turner and Chris Maley back in the garage area. So right now, things looking good for Fury Gamington, because the 2 drivers that were trying to run him down for the points lead, they are out currently. We'll have to see where Gamington restarts. He is currently now in the 19th position, is last week's winner. I mentioned that this looked very eerily similar with some drivers pitting, some drivers not pitting, because in the Division 1 race when we had a caution come out near the midway point, some drivers pit, some drivers decided not to. Those drivers that decided not to, when we went back green, they came to pit road and gave up a heck of a lot of track position as a result. Having to come to the pit lane, not able to make it on fuel. And those drivers that we see up here up front, they've done the exact same thing. They did not come to pit lane under this caution. So Dillon Young, Jake Galloway, Cody Llamas, Vince Almariego, Kyle Langeland, that's the top 5. Alexander Rowe, Alex Gray, Oneal Balvin, Alex Benyacko, and Nathan Stapleton, that's your top 10. But for how long is the question. The first car that hit pit road is James Shelly. He restarts back in the 24th position. So 23 cars stayed out, and I don't think they can make it the rest of the way of this race on fuel. Green flag back in the air with 10 laps to go. If it's the same as yesterday's Division 1 race, I'm calling it. You're going to see this whole front of the field hitting pit road when they come out of turn 4 this lap. That could very well turn the race lead over to James Shelly, or whoever of the drivers that did pit under this caution is running up the highest. If these drivers do have to come to pit road, they are going to have to hope and pray they get a caution to maybe have a shot at this win. Otherwise, if we go green to the end, all these drivers that decide to stay under this caution may have just thrown away an opportunity at a trip to victory lane. 4 wide behind Dillon Young, but like I said, I think we're going to see a trove of cars hitting pit road this lap. Let's see if that's the case. And there you go. Exactly the same as what happened here in the Division 1 race. Dillon Young's on pit road. Everybody else that didn't pit on the pit lane with him. And that's going to turn the race lead over. Well, Shelly hit pit road with this group. Well, that's shocking, as Adam Garcia just got into somebody on pit road. That turned the race lead over to Vince Almariego. Now, I don't understand why the 71 is on pit road, because he was on pit lane under caution. But look how that broke the field up. Everyone having to slow up, wait for all those drivers that were indicating they were coming to pit road. You got Almariego out in front, Balvin there in second. Scott, Farrell, and Voyles, they are third, fourth, and fifth, trying to catch up, along with the 57 of John Andrews. And now Almariego is on pit road, as is Balvin. That turns over the lead to... It was Jeff Scott at the line. Could nobody make it on fuel? We had drivers hit pit road. I don't understand this, but okay. Caleb Farrell with a shot here to pull off what Brady Burkhardt did in Division 1, be a two-time winner and lock himself up a spot in this season's playoffs. Jeff Scott out in front of him, though. Jeff Scott, of course, a two-time winner in the Last of Us Late Series. Season 2, Daniel Voyles right there. There's a driver that could use a good run, 36th in points. John Andrews, another driver who could use a good run as he finds himself mired down in the... Where is he? Boy, I hate it when I can't find a name. Oh no, John Andrews is 5th in points. Never mind. He's actually doing well. Well, this group's gotten caught. Nathan Ormond in the 95 caught up to these guys. The Lightning McQueen Rusty's Camaro. Not too far behind them, you've got Zachary Fitzwater and Jack Hallec. They are 6th and 7th. And right now, it looks like there's only 7 drivers that are in the hunt for this win. These guys all here are a lap down. Pole sitter Benny Watson's 20th. All these drivers off the lead lap, although they're going awfully wide. Is someone up here pitting? No, they're all trying to make their way around other traffic. Simon Bloomfield there in the 21 is a lap down now, as Jeff Scott just got around him. Keith Batson and Karson Gum about to suffer the same fate. They are, I believe, 18th and 17th right now on the charts. As Jeff Scott leads the way, Farrell in second, Voyles third, Ormond fourth, Andrews fifth. It's hard to tell the lap cars from the lead lap cars because all these lap cars are up to speed due to the fact they all had to come to pit road under green. Look at Caleb Farrell with a big run into turn 3. Puts Bloomfield in the middle, sticks Jeff Scott up top. Farrell will go to the top position. Here comes Daniel Voyles and Nathan Ormond, though. Bright orange car back there of Zachary Fitzwater, the bright yellow car of Jack Hallec. They're still on the lead lap with a chance of winning this. As a matter of fact, Hallec has his teammate, albeit a lap down, Alex Benyacko behind him. Would Benyacko be willing to push his teammate in the 13 to the front, as now Caleb Farrell trying to put Karson Gum down a lap? If he succeeds, I believe we're only going to have 16 cars still on the lead lap. Daniel Voyles trying to get a run to the inside, not going to be able to do it. He's going to try and clear Simon Bloomfield here. Bloomfield almost put Caleb Farrell to the high side. That would have helped Voyles to try and take the lead, but no luck just yet. John Andrews now to the inside for third on Nathan Ormond. And here comes Fitzwater in that 59. That's another driver that's struggling in the point standings, Zachary Fitzwater. He is 38th in the standings coming into this race. And Voyles looking to the inside for the lead on Caleb Farrell. The 21 there of Bloomfield is a lap down. He is not in the hunt for the win, but could obviously very well play a factor. He's going to get to the inside of Voyles. That's going to help open the door for Nathan Ormond to maybe be able to make a move for the lead going into turn 3. They'll put Bloomfield back on the tail end of the lead lap as well. And Ormond is going to get to the inside. Ka-chow, he's going to the lead. And now look at this, Jeff Scott. He was the one that inherited the lead after everybody that had to come to pit road did. Now trying to take the top spot back again, trying to get Dodge its second win in a row as Fury Gamington got the first one last week at Pigs Creek. Benyacko there in the 20 is a lap down, but behind him, slow car, damaged car of Charles Sandfer. They're going to encounter him on the back straightaway. Everyone trying to pick a lane. Bloomfield and Andrews got held up there, and now they're also catching up to the 11 of Balvin. Benyacko's going to get back on the lead lap. He's bringing Zachary Fitzwater with him on the bottom. 3 wide for the lead as Fitzwater's going to take the top position. It'll be 2 laps to go this time by. You got Fitzwater, Ormond, Scott, Hallec, Voyles. They're the ones up here right now really battling for this win. Caleb Farrell's back there, but he's got to get around Benny Watson. As now Ormond to the inside, he's going to take the lead back. Chevy, Dodge, Ford, and Ford right now battling for this win. Here comes Jeff Scott's Dodge to the inside. Benyacko and Balvin ahead of them battling for position themselves on the tail end of the lead lap. As Ormond's going to hold the spot, he's going to try and get to the inside of Benyacko, try and put a lap car between himself and Scott. Scott's having none of it. He's got Voyles with him. They're trying to get the inside line going. Now Voyles going to go even lower as the white flag is out. 1 more lap to go. Can Jeff Scott get to the inside of the Rusty Chevrolet? He's trying into 1. Can't do it this time. Now he might be able to in the middle of 1 and 2. He's there. Jeff Scott side by side with Ormond for the lead. Will Voyles try 3 wide? If he does Fitzwater go with him? Caleb Farrell's back up in the mix as well. Slow car ahead. I couldn't tell who it was. Voyles trying to get to the inside of the 35. He might be there. Scott's going to try and get down in front of him. He succeeds. Jeff Scott's got the lead. Can Voyles get to the inside? They're catching the 29 of Garcia. Down the front straightaway, coming to the line. Voyles, Scott, Ormond, Farrell. Who's going to get it? It's going to be close, and it's going to be Jeff Scott by about half a car length, beating Daniel Voyles to the line for his first win of the season in the Skittles Superspeedway Series. I think he had to whoa up a little bit for the 29 of Adam Garcia when they approached him, and that gave Voyles a big run, but Voyles was able to keep his foot in the throttle and make it a lot closer than I thought it was going to be there through turns 3 and 4, but Jeff Scott is going to pick up the win. Scott, who comes into this race 21st in points, had a great run last week at Pigs Creek, gets a great run here today at M&Ms, and may have just put himself as a representative in Division 2 for a spot in this season's chase for the championship. Hope you guys enjoyed this race. Here come your point standings heading into next week. We'll see you guys next time on the Air Sports Channel Offline Racing at its best.